Let's go.
Be alright. This is childish. I want you out. I don't even know why you still here. Step! Step!
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show Recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into another throwback from the 90s. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down, alright? So, I really wanted to put this out last week, but then I also had some other ideas that came to mind. So I was like, no, let me go ahead and set all of this up because I got another surprise for y'all, another throwback tomorrow. So there's a lot of things that a brother is working on over here, but I definitely wanted to get this one rolling along with a different world that's still coming. So be on the lookout for that one as well. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Martin, one of my favorite sitcoms from the 90s. It was crazy. It was just all over the place. And if you were growing up during that time, and if you didn't, I'm sorry. But if you were growing up during that time, man, there was not a time that you did not want to sit down and watch this show. So anyhow, what we're getting ready to get into for tonight is season 1, episode number 1, titled Beauty and the Beast. Now, this episode originally aired on August 27, 1992. And I want us to keep that in mind as we're going throughout this episode because there are going to be a lot of things that we discuss within these shows from the 90s that just would not fly today. Everybody's so sensitive. Don't nobody want to talk things out anymore. They want to counsel everybody. So as we're going throughout these episodes, don't try to counsel a brother. I'm just talking about what's on the screen, daggone it. So anyhow, the synopsis for this episode states, Gina threatens to leave Martin after hearing some insensitive things about women on his radio show. Martin tries to regain his pride. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing, alright? Alright, y'all, so we kicked this episode off with Gina, who has been played by Tisha Campbell. Now, she's actually on her way to work, coming into the living room, singing a little bit. Now, for those of you who didn't know, Tisha had a short-lived singing career, and she actually came out with an album back in 1992, self-titled Tisha. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, the album was bumping. It gave you that early 90s vibe, you know, the feel-good party anthems and all of that good stuff infused with the hip-hop, so it had a lot of up-tempo, you know, type of tracks, and then every so often you would have the slower ballads where, you know, you would get the vibe of, you know, the Boyz II Men, the TLCs, the Tony Braxtons, and even Anita Baker, you know, during that time, you know. And did I say Anita Baker? I'm sorry, y'all. All I'm saying is you could clean your house up to Tisha's album, all right? Like, if you want to, you know, do some in-depth cleaning at your crib over the weekend, you know how when you turn on the radio and you want to clean up, go ahead and turn on that Tisha Campbell album. Get those baseboards clean, you know, sweep up, mop up, do what you need to do. And listen, I ain't dogging Anita Baker. I love Anita Baker. You know, as a matter of fact, when she was coming to the city, I missed her once again because her concert was on a daggone Wednesday night. So I was like, who's going to a concert on a Wednesday night, a school night, when you got babies at home? So, you know, I love Anita Baker with all my heart, y'all. When she said, with all my heart, I love you, baby. Stay with me and never leave. My arms will hold you, baby. Never leave because I believe. She should have told them that the other night at the concert. No, don't leave. I'm coming. Anyhow, let me get back to the show. So we see Gina coming in. She's singing a tune or whatnot. In walks Martin. He's singing as well, you know, giving you the best that he got, since we talking about Anita Baker. So anyhow, getting back to the show. After he comes in singing and whatnot, Gina's like, hold on, bro. Like, that voice is terrible, right? And he was like, okay, I got another song for you. So he says, everybody loves Kung Fu fighting. Da, 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 da. You see what I'm saying? So he was playful with it. And of course, Gina was like, okay, look, some people got to really go to work. Like, we got real jobs. Martin is like, hold on, wait a minute. What is that supposed to mean? And to add to that, he also wants to know why she feels the need to always dog out his show, because he puts in a lot of time and research in the material that he needs for the show to be successful. Gina is like, dang, Martin, it's just my opinion, so don't get so daggone sensitive. Now, we're going to use that word quite a bit for this episode, right? Sensitive, sensitivity, all of those things, right? So Martin tries to deny it, but Gina comes back with some receipts. She says, look, remember last night, the other night when we were watching Beauty and the Beast and you cried? He was like, no, I didn't cry. She was like, no, it's good. I thought it was cute. So she thought it was cute that he was emotional, showing his emotional side. And now Martin is trying to play it off, trying to joke it off or whatnot. But it is what it is, bro. Just deal with it. So anyhow, going on from there, Gina tells Martin that she needs to go ahead and leave. Martin tells her, where are you going? You can't go nowhere without giving me some of that sugar, right? And she's like, okay, under one condition. My coworker is getting a promotion or whatnot, and I would love for you to come to the party. Martin is like, absolutely not. No way, no how. Every time I go to one of your little dry tail events, I end up being stuck with an individual who is telling me about something that they've seen on television, and he uses an example from Boys in the Hood, talking about I didn't know. I just didn't know, Martin. So anyhow, going on from there, we see Gina trying to get ready to leave once again. But this time, as she's getting ready to leave, there's a knock at the door. Martin's like, daggone, who is it? It's Mama Payne at the door, right? Gina's like, come on, Martin. So now she's panicking right now because she doesn't want Mama Payne to know that she slept there the previous night. Martin tells her to calm down, act chill. Mama ain't gonna know nothing, but Mama's already know. We just don't know, they already know. So anyhow, this is our first time meeting Mama Payne. And honestly, y'all, I was really impressed by the way that they were able to capture the moment with both Mama Payne and Martin at the same time, with him playing both characters. We really didn't see a lot of that going on in the sitcoms and things back in the day, but I was glad to be able to see that here on a black sitcom, right? So anyhow, she comes in. She actually, when Gina opens up the door, she actually already has her ear to the door so that she can hear what's going on the inside, right? So anyhow, when she comes in, Gina's like, how are you doing, Mama Payne? She sort of waves her off with that little church fan that she got. And she comes in and she sits down. And her whole purpose of coming over there, first and foremost, is to deliver a vinyl copy of We Are the World by Michael Jackson. All right? That lets you know how far. First of all, they came out in the 80s, and you're still bringing this vinyl record to be played on Martin's radio show, right? And he has to convey to her that they no longer play vinyl records on the radio shows. They play actual cassette tapes at that time. So, she was just behind. So anyhow, getting into the discussion that she had with Gina's conveying to Mama Payne that she just came over to check in on Martin before she headed out for work. And this is what she said.
Oh, I know, Mama, know. You're a good girl. Good, clean girl.
She said, nice, clean girl. You're a good girl. And then the whole kiss on the cheek. Martin didn't want to kiss her in front of his mom. And when she kissed her on the cheek, she leaned in for the kiss. And then when she walked out, she was like, I don't trust her. Now, those mamas don't play about their sons, man. Like, it's crazy. So anyhow, I got stories for days, man, about my mom and my wife, man. They were good, for a long, we really never had any issues. Well, not we, but they didn't have any issues for real. But I remember when I first told my mom about my wife to be, and when I met her in college and all of that good stuff, and she was like, Anyhow, Mama Payne tells Martin before she leaves and gives him that vinyl record to play on the radio station. She tells him that if that girl is going to be staying over here, you make her pay make her pay some rent. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. I agree with I agree. So anyhow, moving on from there, man, we head over to WZUP What's Up Radio, where Martin works. We see he and the sound engineer, Sean, in the office, and in walks Stan, who's the owner of the radio station, walks in complaining about a phone call that, that Martin took from Bill Cosby at that time. So at that time, Bill Cosby was the biggest thing on the planet when it came to television or entertainment, all right? We can leave all the rest of that out. It is what it is. That's what was on the show. So anyhow, Stan is complaining about the collect call and how much it cost. And he was complaining because he stated that Bill Cosby could have called instead of us calling. You about to put me out of business. So anyhow, going on from there, he's telling Sean not to talk to Martin when he's getting ready to go on the air. It's just a whole situation going on at the radio station, right? So anyhow, going on from there, we head over to see Gina and Pam. Now, they're best friends in real life. They're best friends on this sitcom. And it's crazy. Later on in these episode breakdowns, I could break down the relationship between these two individuals. But they've known each other since they were teenagers, lived together before they were even on this show. So it's incredible that they have this friendship and this bond for all of these years in the business, right? So anyhow, getting back to the show, we see Gina requesting some items to be Xerox for her or whatnot, and old girl on the phone is like, well, I'm getting ready to do it right now. Once she gets off the phone, Pam is like, she's not Xeroxing anything. She's actually on the phone with her, her man or whatnot, once again, for the 10th time already. Gina's like, well, I thought it was cute. Pam is like, no, it ain't cute. What he's doing right now is checking up on her. She was like, how do you know he's checking up? She was like, that's what all men do. So I'm not sure why they had Pam's character so angry initially, even when she first met Cole and Tommy, and we'll talk about them later on in this episode breakdown, right? So anyhow, long story short, the lady finally comes in with the Xeroxed items or whatnot, but she also comes with an entourage. So there are some other people that's coming with her as well. She's rushing in and she's asking Gina, could, they listen to Martin's radio show or whatnot. Now, stepping back real quick before, the secretary and the rest of the people came into the room, Gina and Pam were having a conversation about Martin. Gina had conveyed to Martin, not to Martin, but to Pam, that, Martin was very sensitive, he was caring, and all of these good things. And Pam was like, what is he doing to you? Does he got that voodoo on you or something like that? And she was like, no, he's just considerate, he's caring, he's all of these things, right? So keep all of that in your mind as we're getting ready to talk about this show. So on his radio show, they turn on the radio, the boombox or whatnot. So when they turn it on, Martin starts to talk about male sensitivity, and he has a caller on the line who's talking about he shares everything with his wife. He even cries in front of his wife and all of this good stuff, right? So Martin is like, man, that's absolutely beautiful, bro. He said, I just got one more question though. And the man on the phone is like, okay, what is it? He was like, do you shave your face or your bikini line first? He said, check the front of your pants, you got a flap on it. I said, daggum. Like I stated earlier, I gave y'all a disclaimer. Y'all already know that in 2024, this show would not be happening. Not like this, not on regular television. Well, you know what? I take that back. Some of the stuff would be censored, but the trash would still be out there, right? So anyhow, going on from there, he keeps going in, and then there's this caller, this female caller that calls in, and she checks Martin, right? So, of course, he has to check her back. So he was like, let me tell you about my girl, Gina.
Gina don't give me all that back talk because she knows she got a man that can deliver.
So now Gina is sitting off in the office with all of these people quiet, looking at her, and then they just vanish. And she's embarrassed, right? So now Pam is sitting over here digging into the wound, talking about, oh Lord, please, if you're listening, would you please send me a man like Martin who's just so considerate and sensitive? And then she looks over at Gina, and Gina's like, I'm about to get in his business, right? So anyhow, she was like, I'm going to help you, girl. So anyhow, they walk out, right? So the next thing we see is over at Martin's crib, where we see both Tommy and Cole. So these are the friends of Martin, and we see them for the first time in episode number 1. So Cole is sitting down on the couch reading a magazine, looking through it or whatnot. Tommy is over at the refrigerator complaining about how Martin doesn't have any food, and what's the use of having a key if this brother never has any food in his refrigerator. I agree. So why come? Don't show up. All right. So anyhow, going on from there, Martin finally shows up. He and Cole, they dap up because Cole actually had the opportunity to listen to the show. So he's dapping Martin up or whatnot, hugging and embracing, talking about give me love and all of this good stuff. Martin then goes over to Tommy to get the same validation. The only thing is, Tommy was more real about the situation, and he conveys to Martin that Gina's going to hurt him real bad. Martin's like, look, Tommy, I was just trying to put an end to all of this male sensitivity. I didn't mean anything by it. Cole comes over to add his 2 cents to it as well, talking about all men are dogs, and once women realize that all men are dogs, then we'll be better off. And I'm sitting here like, daggone, like, there are a lot of women that actually believe this. Not all, but some, all right? And I do not agree with this statement at all, because all men are not dogs. Now, are there some dogs out there? Absolutely. But not all, right? Because there are some good men out there just as well as some good women out there. And we just need to, I guess, work harder to find them, right? It's getting a lot harder. But they're out there, right? So anyhow, going on from there, we see both Gina and Pam coming through the hallway. But before they can enter the apartment, we hear an individual from apartment 41, where the door is ajar, say, how you doing? So I'm like... who is that over there? So out walks Shanae. First episode. So we've seen Mama Payne, we've seen Martin, of course, and now we're seeing another character that he plays in Shanae, right? So, you know, the way he walked up out of that room, man. So anyhow, when Shanae walks up out, she's talking directly to Gina, not at Pam at the moment. So she's telling Gina that she can go ahead and send her man over there because she knows how to tame Martin, because she heard the radio show. And she's telling Gina that she doesn't know how to keep her man in check, doesn't know how to treat a man like Martin. So Pam is telling her to go mind her old ugly business, right? And she's like, oh no, you didn't, right? So now they get into it. So back inside of the apartment, we see Cole looking outside of the peephole or whatnot, seeing what's going on. In walks Gina and Pam. Tommy tells Martin directly to his face that she's getting ready to hurt you real bad, right? Remember what he said earlier. So anyhow, she's coming in to talk to him about what happened on the radio show. He was like, no, whatever you got to say to me, you can say in front of my boys or whatnot. She was like, oh, really? Do you really want to do that? He was like, yeah, you can say that right here and now. So now Cole is sitting over here like, yeah, Tommy ain't said a word. But anyhow, she was like, okay, so do your fellas know that you cried at Beauty and the Beast last night? And he was like, hey, let's go talk in the bedroom or whatnot. Now all of a sudden he wants to go to the bedroom and have this discussion. Now, before they get into the bedroom, we see Cole coming over to talk to Pam, because obviously this is the first time that Cole has actually met Pam, and now he's trying to get on. So he's telling Pam in the most disrespectful way that, hey, you know you want me, don't try to reject me, accept it, I'm a man, all of that stuff, right? And she was like, you pathetic stump of a man. I was like, dang. I don't even know what you call that, right? So he was like, why she fronting? Why she fronting? And there are some dudes out there that believe that every woman in the world wants them, right? So maybe Cole is the one. So, you know, Tommy's just playing it cool. He's talking to Pam. She's talking to him. Everything is good. So anyhow, going on from there, we head back into the bedroom where we see both Gina and Martin. So Gina is like, why would you disrespect me on a radio show? He was like, Gina, I was just talking to my base, giving them what they wanted to hear. I didn't know you were going to trip about what I said on my radio show or whatnot. And he was like, as a matter of fact, if you can't deal with that, then you might as well leave. I was like, dang, okay. And she was like, okay, that's what you mean? He was like, yeah, go on the step. I don't even know why you still here. Because he was hard at first. All of a sudden, this man breaks down right in front of his woman. All of that male sensitivity crap goes out the window. So anyhow, they talk it out, they work it out. But at the end of the day, he can't let his boys know that he lost the battle. All right? So he tells Gina before they go out that, hey, make it look like I won. She was like, look, we just had this discussion. He was like, look, it's a man thing. All right? But she tells him that, hey, if I do this for you, then you should do this for me, talking about going to Kevin's party. He was like, okay. So now, when he comes out, he's talking hard in the paint. Gina's just sitting there taking it. So she was like, look, Martin, I'm going to get ready to head out. He was like, don't you go nowhere without giving me my sugar. So he goes over there, talks to her. She grabs his chin, and she's telling him with those lips tight together, talking about, now you be there at this time. Do what I said do. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And he was like, yeah, thank you. She was like, boom. All right. Walks out the crib. Cole is sitting over there talking about, I knew you were the man. I knew you were the man. Tommy sit down. Yeah. But in there, she was the man. And Martin chuckles a little bit, and he's like, because I told her to. So even at the end of the day, he couldn't let it go. So with that being said, man, that's the end of it. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this one. I didn't go on too long. I try to keep these throwbacks around 20 minutes or less. Every so often I will go over if it's real good to me. So anyhow, with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to share. If you think somebody else that you know would actually like this content as well. Tomorrow night, I got a surprise for y'all. A surprise. It's another throwback from the 90s, y'all. So with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.